we got some more patch notes for Deadlock. Here's the rundown for the October 24th update. And of course, if you're new here or find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed, why not? It's completely free and, well, it greatly helps me out. But anyways, I hope you sit back, relax, and let's enjoy these notes. So firstly, they added a experimental hero matchmaking mode to where you can test out some new heroes. So that's something that's pretty cool. They added a new character shader to improve player visibility in all areas of the map and experiment with more stylized rendering of character models. They then went ahead and fixed a whole bunch of issues with sounds and other things. Of course, I'll have the link to the full patch notes down below so you can see all the fixes yourself. But anyways, getting started with our miscellaneous gameplay, AP is no longer granted for walkers, Shrine / Patreon no longer have souls / AP bounties, Shrine flex slot moved to all shrines, the missing AP from above is redistributed along souls reward line at a similar soul level that the objects previously died on average, which is pretty good for all things asked. Trooper soul orbs now have a 90 millisecond buffer to allow the server to do better calculations on who shot the orb first, to minimize latency advantages for denying. So hopefully you're going to be getting these souls a lot more. And the trooper soul changed from 50-50 in the kill orb to 60-40, so hopefully you'll be getting more souls. The breakables got a revert and we're back at 3 minutes, so overall pretty good change. Now I skipped over some earned changes because I want to talk about the Guardian changes, and those are Guardian attack range requirements changed from 20 meters to requiring you are above the ramp on high ground. Guardian's resist for troopers changed from starting at 70 and ending at minus 30% at 10 minutes to starting at 60 and ending at 35 at 8 minutes. Guardians now have resist versus players starting at 40% and ending at minus 35% at 8 minutes. Now for a big one, walkers now have resist versus troopers starting at 60 and ending at minus 30 at 14 minutes. Walkers now have resist versus players starting at 60% and ending at minus 30% at 14. Troopers now gain plus 40% spirit resist gradually over 25 minutes, goes to 70% at 50. Backdoor protection range for troopers increased, harder to kill troopers approaching the objectives with long range spells to still making the game think you are backdooring when you aren't. The backdoor protection removal now has a 20-second buffer so it doesn't go into protection mode immediately once creeps die. The mid-boss respawn timer decreases from 7 minutes to 7 minutes, 6 minutes, and 5 minutes. The 70-second respawn time now happens at 30 minutes instead of 35. There is now a respawn curve that goes from 70 to 75 seconds over 30 to 40 minutes. The base Guardians and Shrines no longer have out of combat regen, and the parry active window increased from 0.7 seconds to 0.75, and the parry cooldown reduced from 5 seconds to 4.5, which is a pretty good change. Now the medic trooper heal now has 2 charges instead of 1. The time between casts is 6 seconds, so does not consume a charge when healing other troopers, mainly affects waves pushing on their own. The medic trooper heal cooldown increased from 6 to 35 seconds. Sinner's Sacrifice now shares souls of subsequent hits with everyone that hit it recently, rather than the bigger value from last hits only going to one player. They redesigned the stairs from the central canal to the outer lanes near the urn spawn, and they added a sky bridge with interior from the subway entrance buildings into the Port Authority and Speakeasy buildings. And you can see the images that they're talking about if you hit the link in the description. Now moving on to the weapon items category, the restorative shot weapon damage reduced from 7% to 6%. Restorative shot cooldown increased from 5.5 seconds to 6 seconds. For rapid rounds, the fire rate increased from 9 to 10. Monster rounds resist versus NPCs reduced from 30 to 25%. Then for the high velocity mag, bullet velocity reduced from 25% to 20%. The bullet shield health increased from 50 to 65, and the weapon damage increased from 12% to 13%. So hopefully now you'll be buying high velocity mag a lot more. Following that, for the melee charge, the weapon damage reduced from 15% to 12%, and the health reduced from 100 to 75. The long range item no longer grants plus 25% ammo and now has a minus 20% reload time. Active reload no longer grants minus 20% reload time, it now grants plus 18% ammo. Mystic shot, the proc cannot miss due to evasion, and cooldown was increased from 5.25 seconds to 5.75 seconds. So not a super massive change to Mystic shot, it seems. Then for Burst Fire, it now grants plus 20% slow resistance. Sharpshooter no longer grants plus 20% ammo, it now has minus 20% reload time. For Tesla Bullets, proc cooldown can now be reduced by cooldown reductions, so you can get the proc of Tesla Bullets a lot more often now. For Titanic Magazine, it now grants plus 12% spirit resist, no longer grants plus 18% bullet resist, and now grants plus 25% melee damage resistance, which is pretty interesting. Then for the tier 4s, Lucky Shot proc now pierces evasion, and Vampiric Burst health increase from 150 to 175. Overall, not major changes to these two items, but hopefully you can be looking at them with a little more light instead. Next up, we have Vitality items. Extra Regen no longer grants plus 25 health, which is a pretty big change. Extra Stamina bonus health increase from 25 to 35. And Extra Health now upgrades into Fortitude, so there's actually a purpose for buying extra health. And then Enduring Speed, slow resist reduced from 35 to 30%, reactive barrier ammo increased from 15 to 20, so hopefully you're thinking twice when buying these items. Moving on, if you're still with me, make sure to like and subscribe. But getting started with Majestic Leap, the cooldown increased from 26 seconds to 45. Majestic Leap, getting shot while in the air disables the drop down ability. Rescue Beam Pull, the pulse speed was reduced by 20% and the sprint reduced from +2 to +1. Like I mentioned earlier, Fortitude now upgrades from extra health, so there's a reason to buy extra health now. The health increased from 325 to 365 and the restore delay reduced from 11 seconds to 10 seconds. Then the weapon damage increased from 25% to 27%. They're really encouraging you to buy Fortitude. For Veil Walker, the bullet shield increased from 200 to 250, then the spirit shield was also increased from 200 to 250. For Superior Stamina, increased from 8 to 12, so you're gonna have a lot of slots now. For our next tiers, Soul Rebirth no longer grants plus 15% cooldown reduction. The cooldown was increased from 212 seconds to 240. Siphon Bullets, max HP steal per bullet increased from 50 to 55. Leech now has a 12% cooldown reduction and it no longer grants spirit power. Phantom Strike no longer grants its 15% bullet resist, but it now grants plus 15% spirit resist. Unstoppable no longer grants plus 15% spirit resist, it now grants plus 15% bullet resist, and it no longer grants you plus 1 move speed. For Colossus, the slow reduced from 35 to 30% and the slow radius reduced from 14 meters to 12 meters. A lot of it changes, but it's nothing over the top that completely gets rid of an item per se. Moving on, we have the spirit items. Mystic Reach, the ability range reduced from 18 to 15%, the bullet resist increased from 6 to 7%, and ammo scavenger duration increased from 30 seconds to 35. There was a ton of changes to our tier 2, so slowing hex, the slow reduced from 25% to 20%, improved cooldown now grants plus 25 spirit shield. Withering Whip projectile speed increased by 30%. Cold Front now does double damage to NPC units. Duration Extender, ability duration reduced from 16% to 14%, and it now grants plus 8% weapon damage. Bullet Resist Shredder no longer grants plus 5% bullet resist, it now grants plus 15% melee damage resist. Then we have a ton of changes up next. With Surge of Power, when the passive procs, you no longer get slowed while shooting, similar to Fleet Footwork, which is very nice. Surge of Power, move speed reduced from +3 to +2. For improved reach, non-embedded, ability range increased from 25% to 26%. The bullet resist increased from 12 to 13%. Mystic slow reduced from 30% to 25%, and the health bonus increased from 100 to 140. For improved burst, max HP damage increased from 7 to 9%, and the threshold damage increased from 125 to 200. Then Superior Cooldown Spirit Shield increased from 100 to 150, which is a very good change. Superior Duration, non-embedded duration increased from 26 to 27%. Embedded duration increases from 32% to 33%. Ethereal Shift, active no longer grants 14 spirit power or reloads. Active now grants +3 move speed for 5 seconds after returning. The active also now grants +40% resist for 5 seconds after returning, and it grants +6 spirit power, as well as improved spirit. The spirit power increased from 28 to 30. Then we see Balanced Spirit, the spirit power increased from 60 to 65. The weapon power increased from 25% to 30%. Escalating Exposure, the spirit amp per stack reduced from 5% to 4%. Mystic Reverb, slow now only affects the primary target. For for Mystic Reverb as well, the Spirit Lifesteal, Spirit Resist, and ability range reduced from 15 to 14%. Now again, hopefully you're still sticking with me. Here are the hero changes. For Abrams, the melee attack rate reduced by 15%, time between the attacks, and the gun fall off damage starts at 20 meters instead of 22. They fixed some cases where shorter charge would do a 180/360 on spellcast, was it insane. The shorter charge sliding against wall surfaces incorrectly, and they fixed seismic impact sometimes getting stuck on objects. Then for Bebop, the bullet damage growth increased from 0.29 to 0.33, and he no longer gains 1% bullet resist per boon, now gains 1% spirit resist per boon. Hook now returns troopers 75% faster than normal. Then for Grey Talon, his base regen was increased from 2 to 2.5, the gun spirit scaling increased from 0.1 to 0.13, the move speed of now scales with spirit power again, so a revert of the last change, and rain of arrow strafe speed with stamina increased by 30%. Afterburn tier 1 reduced from 30% to 25% for Infernus, which is nice. Ivy base bullet damage increased from 4.5 to 5, bullet damage growth reduced from 0.39 to 0.36, and the airdrop slow reduced from 35% to 30%. For Kelvin, his Arctic beam slow reduced from 50% to 40%. Frost Grenade tier 2 health reduced from 145 to 125, and they fixed Frozen Shelter not recent weakened Patreon, so you can no longer steal the win. Lady Geist Malice slow reduced from 20% to 15, Malice debuff duration reduced from 13 seconds to 9, Malice damage amp reduced from 15% to 8, Malice tier 2 now also increases damage amp by 7%, Malice no longer causes you to unzoom on cast. So it seems like a buff and a nerf to Lady Geist, which she was getting a little bit annoying, but I understand the changes that they are doing. Now McGinnis received a lot of changes again. The gun spin decay rate improves from 0.65 to 0.25, mini turrets cooldown reduced from 24 to 18 seconds, mini turret spirit resist increased from 60 to 80%. Spectral wall slow reduced from 25% to 20, the spectral wall tier 1 damage amp reduced from 25 to 15, heavy barrage minimum range increased from 6 meters to 7, heavy barrage cooldown increased from 106 seconds to 140, heavy barrage tier 2 cooldown improves from minus 47 seconds to minus 50, heavy barrage tier 1 slow reduced from 35 to 30%. So a lot of changes, hopefully she makes it a little more viable. Then for Mirage, the Fire Scarab's tier 3 max health seal increased from plus 70 to plus 80. Jin's Mark tier 3 cooldown between multiple multipliers improved from minus 0.5 seconds to minus 0.75. Traveler fire rate increased from 20 to 30. Traveler tier 2 cooldown reduction improved from minus 30 seconds to minus 40. Traveler tier 3 now grants unstoppable for 3 seconds on arrival, which is pretty insane. For Moan Krill, he now has a 20% headshot crit reduction, and the burrow bullet and spirit resist now persist while spinning out of the burrow, so he's even more tankier. For Paradox, her pulse grenade pulses are now expressed as a duration rather than a fixed pulse. Pulse grenade tier 1 changed from plus 1 pulse to plus 0.8 seconds duration. Pulse grenade tier 2 improved from minus 7.5 seconds to minus 8 seconds. Kinetic carbine tier 2 improved from minus 9.5 seconds cooldown to minus 10. Kinetic carbine shots cannot miss due to evasion. Kinetic carbine can now pierce breakables. Kinetic carbine now does 15% more damage on a headshot, and the sound level reduced a little bit. So overall, pretty solid changes to Paradox, so hopefully you'll be seeing her a little bit more. For 7, it seems like he got somewhat of a nerf. His lightning ball cooldown increased from 23 seconds to 26. The ball radius was reduced from 4 meters to 3.5. The tier 2 slow reduced from 40% to 35%. The movement speed reduced from 7.3 to 7.1. The store cloud expand time reduced from 3 seconds to 2. Storm cloud range increased from 25 meters to 30 meters. So it seems like his ultimate ability got buffed while his lightning ball got nerfed per se. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we all been waiting for, the Shiv nerf. Shiv base speed reduced from 7.3 to 7. Serrated knife's collision radius reduced by 20%. Bloodletting cooldown increased from 21 seconds to 50. Bloodletting tier 2 CD increased from minus 4.75 seconds to minus 25. Bloodletting duration increased from 10 seconds to 13. Bloodletting tier 1 changed to plus 8% incoming damage deferred was plus 5% duration. Killing blow range reduced from 20 meters to 13. Killing range buildup per heavy melee reduced from 3.5 to 2.75. Killing Blow Rage Buffer duration reduced from 10 seconds to 9, and the Killing Blow Rage buildup versus creeps reduced by 50%. Still, it's a good direction that they're trying to nerf Shiv a lot, but I still see this as it being a problem. I think they could do more, but I think it's a step in the right direction. For Vindicta, her gun cycle time improves from 0.26 seconds to 0.22, bullet damage growth per boon increased from 0.55 to 0.65. Fire rate now scales with spirit power at 0.14. Assassinate no longer splits to allies. Flight duration increased from 8 seconds to 12. Flight tier 2 duration increased from +6 to +8. Assassinate bullet radius increased from 3 meters or 3 inches to 4 inches. Assassinate scope is now automatically cancelled when paradoxical swap hits you. Assassinate scope zoom level can now be cycled with right click. Then we have changes to Viscous and Warden. So Viscous bullet damage reduced from 12 to 11. Bullet damage growth per boon increased from 0.86 to 0.9. Decube tier 2 moved to tier 3. Decube tier 2 is now plus 35 HP regen. Splatter tier 2 reduced from plus 60 damage to plus 50. Goo Ball Spear resist reduced from 70 to 60%. For Warden, the Alchemic Flask slow duration reduced from 6 to 3 seconds. Alchemic Flask weapon damage duration increased from 6 to 7. Binding Ward escape time reduced from 2.9 to 2.8, and the escape range increased from 18.5 meters to 19. Last Stand tier 3 now also grants you unstoppable during the 2-second channel, which is pretty insane. Then lastly we have Wraith and Yamato. The card trick base damage reduced from 80 to 70. Card trick cooldown increased from 0.5 seconds to 0.65. Telekinesis cooldown increased from 95 seconds to 100. Telekinesis tier 1 cooldown improved from -28 seconds to -30. Again, they just keep nerfing her cards when her base gun is the problem. Hopefully they can understand that it's the base gun and not the abilities really. Yamato fixed being able to cast an ability while casting Flying Strike, fixed Crimson Slash falling in the direction of dash instead of the crosshair. Shadow transformation tier 1 changed from plus 20% fire rate. Shadow transformation cooldown reduced from 106 seconds to 90 seconds. Now that was a ton of information. Now I did skip over a couple things, and like always I'll have the link to the forum thread down below in the description. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, or if you just enjoy my content in general, make sure to like and subscribe as well. But anyways, I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.